Episode 3 of the Heatwave podcast. I'm joined with my co-hosts, Relent and HCS Headline. Welcome, guys. We got a lot to discuss. I think our first topic, we're doing this podcast on a little bit of a different schedule, so we're a little bit off on our weeks. But I think our first topic that we wanted to touch on was the news that that Anaheim will not be going forward as initially planned, but it will in fact be be more of not an online event, but there's only 16 teams that are going to be able to make it to the actual LAN. 8 teams that qualified via their placing at Rally, and then 8 teams that are going to have to qualify online, which we'll get into the details of that. First of all, what was your guys'? I'll start with you, Ed. What was your reaction to like this kind of news?
I mean, I feel like I kind of knew it was going to happen in some sort of sense because I know California's quite pretty strict on stuff like that. They're compared to like other states and just other places in general. They're pretty strict. So I think, especially with the new variant, a lot of people knew like there was a high chance of this happening. But I was surprised. The thing that I was most surprised about, to be honest, was the fact that they're not even letting media teams in. I think I read somewhere. Um, well, I think it's like media teams of like the organizations, which is just, I don't know, it's unfortunate because obviously there was a lot of stuff that came out of Raleigh and a lot of good videos were made and high quality videos of like the space station one, the United one, and everything. But yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but at least it can go ahead. It's not like they've just cancelled it or rescheduled it, but yeah, I'm just happy it's going ahead, to be honest. How about you, Roland?
Yeah, so same kind of concept you had. Like it was kind of shocking. I think 16 teams is I think it's kind of pushing it to the extent. I don't know how the tournament's going to play out. I'm excited that it's going to be continuing though, because I think that's like we talked about in several in our past few weeks that Halo content is very vital key to keep it going, and I think this is something like have they closed it all together could have potentially hurt it in the long run. Um, so yeah, overall it was surprising to me, but I think they did a good job of covering it the best they could with given the situation that the world's in with COVID protocols.
Definitely. So you brought up in your first point, you brought up the media team aspect of it. Do
Yeah.
you do so we that it was kind of unclear on what that meant, right? So I was kind of
Yeah.
I was kind of torn because I was like, okay, and I think they'll come to clarify it. Like they have a lot to clarify after this, but do we think that means you know media outside of like the organizations, or are they already cutting it off with like essential staff, like maybe players and coach only or managers only?
I personally took it as just like not even media from the orgs. I figured that's what they'd do anyway because I know in Call of Duty they did that. They kind of just I think it was for one of the majors they played it like it was called like behind closed doors. They kind of called it, and it was just no media teams. It was literally just players, coaches, refs, and that was it pretty much. There was just no media teams, nothing. So I guess in a sense it could be no outside media, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how I took it anyway. How about you?
Yeah, so from I took it that way, and then from what I've heard from some of the players around the league, that it's just going to be players, coaches, and I don't even think they're allowing staff or like I think it's strictly going to be like staff for the event, refs, and the players, and that's kind of how I took it from the post, and from what I've heard is kind of how I have an understanding of it. You know, but they did put in the article that you can email them for media inquiries, so it's kind of like they don't want the media there, but they're allowing it to be there at the same time. Like they're allowing for the opportunity. Maybe something changes with the CDC and they can allow more people into the venue or something. So I'm not. I think it's
Yeah.
a kind of a toss up right now. I think it'd be a last minute decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because like you were talking about earlier, Ed, was we had so much good content come out of Rally. It kind of seemed like this would be like almost like a silver lining, if you allow like the media teams in there, because like we're gonna this, for better or for worse, this is gonna be a very, very unique type of scenario, and it would be very cool to be able to capture this. And I honestly, my first assumption when we heard the news that it was going to online was that they would kind of have that same idea. The HCS team, they would be like, okay, we're gonna. I mean, because they cut that number, from the amount of people that would have, with all the teams in the open, with all the spectators, they cut that number down, to like probably less than 1% of the amount of people that were going to be there, or if like 1%, like a very small amount of people are going to be there in comparison to what would have been there. So you would have think just like letting, and I know media teams are usually bigger. Sometimes it's a one-man job, but sometimes they'll have, sound man, or they'll have 2 cameras going, or maybe somebody with production. But even it doesn't seem like that much more of a liability to kind of let those people come. So I kind of wonder what the decision behind that was. Have they announced if they the new venue location, or is it still being held at the same location? Do we know that?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Relent's probably better off in that with that question than me, to be honest.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's going to be the same. I don't think they've changed the venue, from what I've heard and what I've read online. I think it's still going to be same venue. I just think I think they just changed some of the format and allowing spectators come in and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay, so let's shift over to the teams that we do know are going. So it'll be based on the placings at Rally. That'll be determine the top 8. It shifted a little bit due to, I think the only change was because, correct me if I'm wrong, but because obviously this is a regional tournament and Navi plays within that top 8, and so then they basically took whoever, the 9th best team or whatever. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I think just off the Waypoint blog, they said that because like it's outside of Navi, or outside of NA, that they're. Is that how? I don't know who took their place.
I see. Actually, I have pulled up right here. It actually looks like it's G2, and it's because they placed 9th through 12th of the tournament, but they had the highest amount of points of the teams that placed 9th through 12th. So I don't know if that's the points that they carried over. I'm assuming that's the points they carried over from the tournaments leading into Rally. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, that was correct. Like the points that they got, I think it's the points they got from Raleigh, the points they had from the online cups and everything, kind of combined. From what I'm reading the same article, so from what I gathered, like I think just like because there's 9 through 12 teams, and so the 9 through 12 teams, I think they had the highest points. So ultimately they got it.
So the teams that we have in that are already qualified for Anaheim are Cloud9, E United, FaZe, Sentinels, Space Station Gaming, G2 Esports, Optic Gaming, and KC Pioneers.
So out of those, is there any partner team missing other than Fnatic? Or have because
I don't
obviously
think so,
Pioneers
right?
aren't partnered. They're the only AM team in that.
Yeah.
What happened with Fnatic? Are they automatically just not allowed to get into that top, or because obviously they're just formed?
What do you mean?
Because
I think
Fnatic obviously.
Yeah, because I don't think they I think that just happens to be. I mean, obviously all of these teams had like a almost like a leg up, because I think they all automatically were in pool play. But I think it just is more of a coincidence that they all, I mean, not a coincidence because they're all like great teams, but I think they'll like, I don't think there's any advantage other than the fact that they had automatic pool placing in Rally. I don't think there's any advantage that they have as far as their placement goes in, or they're automatically into this tournament. So I think if Fnatic would have placed like top 8 last tournament, or
Oh, right,
where
okay,
G2
yeah.
placed, you know, then they would be here too. Which, I mean, they might make the top 16, but I guess we can go over to, so the pool play. So just talking more about the tournament, the pool play will be, this tournament will pretty much play just like the last one did, except it'll only be that, you know, that pool portion of it. So we're skipping the whole open is going to be online. So it'll be 4 pools of 4 teams. Will be drawn before the event. Single round robin, best of 5. First team receives a bye and moves to winners round 2 of the championship bracket. Second and third place teams go into winners round 1. Fourth place team goes into elimination round 1.
I think it's single lemon, yeah, pool play, right?
No, it's well, you play everybody, and then it goes by your it goes by your record, right? So
yeah, it's just okay, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're the team that's 3-0, you're obviously
yeah,
you're obviously 1. So that, I mean, that's pretty standard that for what we would expect. What do you guys think about we talked about it before the show, but what do you think about only letting like the top, you know, only cutting it off at a 16 team LAN?
you go ahead, Posey. Say this one.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're doing that to. I think it just falls into with the COVID protocol. So like, I feel like if that wasn't a thing, I feel like, or if it wasn't as severe in California as it was, like I feel like it would be a higher, like, you know, potentially even be like a regular LAN event or whatnot. I think they cut it off at 16 teams because I feel like there's a certain limit of people that they can have within in the facility. So I feel like, you know, 16 teams with staff and refs and stuff like that and coaches, you know, I feel like they're at their limit for the amount of people that they can have in a vicinity. So I feel like that's why it's that. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it. I just feel like, you know, at this point in time, I guess it's something we have to go with.
Yeah, definitely. It would have been nice to see maybe like 4 more teams, just one more in each. One more in each group would have been nice, but yeah, it's completely out of like the players' hands and everything. It's just how it goes, I guess. Maybe they could have rescheduled it instead, but I think you just kind of got to play it, especially because that would have knocked everything back throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but got to roll with the punches, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, I mean, you have to understand where they're like coming from, right? They're not trying to be like, the more people they have there, the more like liable they are for I mean, they'll just have more on their plate too that they have to be responsible for. I would have liked to see, like, I know it's just like nitpicking, but I would have liked to see like 24 teams. I feel like that would have been like the sweet spot, because I think what we all like in Halo, I think the reason we like the open bracket so much is that we like to, even though, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but we like to see like a team come from the open bracket and have a chance of, like, you know, not even winning the event. I think just a team coming from the open bracket and placing like top 8 is like the craziest thing. And I think with this, it's like it sucks to think that on a LAN you have to place I mean, you'll have to place in the top 8 in a LAN online to make it to the LAN, you know. I think some of the, because I think, you know, if you take the top 16 teams from like a tournament, I think if those teams played each other on LAN versus online, there's just definitely going to be changes. And not necessarily like a team has, I mean, in the end, a team will have an advantage online, and we never know that. And you hope that there's different disadvantages and advantages, and it kind of balances each other out. But it would just be cool to see those teams kind of get like kind of legitimized, and like also just the opportunity for like some of those like lower teams, because really those guys, you know, at the lower levels, they're not, a lot of them are playing, you know, they're like losing money playing right now, right? Like they're taking time away from work, they're taking time away from other things in hopes of making it. And so just to give them that, even if it ended up that they play, that they snuck into that top 24 and then placed like 24th, just for them to have the ability to like feel like they achieved something by making it to LAN would have been cool. I will give them Halo credit because from what I read, they are providing travel and hotel accommodations for everyone at the tournament. So I'm like, okay, that is like that I don't feel like that's something that they had to do. So I think that's a really cool gesture, and especially for like we'll go into it for these every week that we have this like top 16. And there's a lot of just unsigned teams in it every time, so it's cool to see four guys or girls that are gonna make it, that are gonna get to don't have to worry about how they're gonna pay for it as well.
I think that's what's good about open bracket is kind of people can get their name out there, even like if they're not actually signed to an org. Like you work through open bracket, you get your name out there, then you get signed. Like that's the ultimate goal. So
Yeah.
I think with a 16 team cap, it's kind of limiting that chance definitely. But there's not much we can do about it, I guess.
No, so so let's shift away from this and into kind of focusing on this, like let's go into like qualification, and then we can kind of use that to segue into like kind of how these the format of these online tournaments as well. So it appears that one of the things that we were talking about before the show is that there hasn't been a ton of guidance on how placements are working, how you qualify for different things. It's kind of coming out like last minute. So do we know? So it seems like these tournaments that they're playing in right now, ultimately, so the online and pro tournaments that they're playing in right now, ultimately what it changed into, since we already have these top 8 teams that are going to automatically get to go to Anaheim, basically these teams are qualifying, are building up points for the final tournament before Anaheim, and then that tournament alone, which will play as like, basically we look at that tournament as the online open bracket. That tournament, those tournament results will determine those top 8 teams. Am I like right on that?
I mean, I'm none the wiser, to be honest. I feel like they could have been a bit more clear with the whole point system. I think even some pros are beginning to ask questions and stuff. I feel like 343 needs to or esports engine just need to come out and kind of just tell everyone like how they work and just give like a quick debrief or something in like a twit longer or something like that. But to be honest, I have no clue. I probably should, but I've just had no guidance either, to be honest.
Yeah. What about you, Relent?
I think it's just kind of like how you guys are talking. Like I think it's just something that's kind of up in the air, and like everybody's kind of just winging it, trying to figure out what's going on. Like I know they're getting points for their placements in these online qualifiers and in the pro series. I think like Snakebite tweeted out earlier that he got more points for one of his matches online than he did for their placing in Raleigh, and he was like, how does that make sense? And it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a LAN placing should carry higher points than an online qualifier or online pro series. But from what he tweeted out, you kind of get an idea of their point log, and so I mean, yeah, they're getting points, and like they have points, and in the brackets, like they're seeded off of how many points. I think how many points they have and stuff like that. So, yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, I think we're kind of going into this blind, and I think we just need something that kind of guides us into the direction that so we have better answers. Like, and everybody, not just the viewers, but the teams need to know too.
Yeah. No, I think for me, touching on like, the Snakebite tweets and stuff. So I think we can all agree that like that LAN definitely should be weighed heavier than online results. I will say one of the nice features, and I haven't seen a direct tweet, but one of the things that I think they're trying to like negate is the fact that like, you know, in past circuits, the way it worked is like it's almost like, okay, this team wins like a LAN, like they kind of don't have to even like the points almost work out to where they don't even have to do anything the rest of the year because those they won so they, you know, they earned so many points in that LAN that like they kind of just like already made it to the like the world championship or whatever, you know. So I think they were trying, I think if I'm guessing what Esports Engine was trying to pull off with like HCS, like I don't, and that's the thing too, is we don't even know if this is Esports Engine's call or if it's like a collaboration. Like I would just like to know that because I'd like to know what the rationale behind the decisions were. And I'm sure they have good ones, you know, they have a lot of very like smart and capable people behind the scenes yet, but it would be nice to have a little bit more information on those. Do I want to go into, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So going back,
we can just touch briefly on last week's results. Is that what we want to do quickly? Or?
oh yeah, sure. There actually is one thing that I wanted to talk. I wanted to like ask you guys a question about. So it does look like, so from week to week, just to touch on the format that we're dealing with the online tournaments right now. So week to week, the way it works is, so going into week twos, like say we're going from week 1 in the HCS to week 2, the way the teams are situated is the first 3 placements will be determined by whoever like first, second, and third of the tournament before. 4th and 5th, then it'll get 4th and 5th will be determined by those placements, and then your point, like after that point, basically after the top 3, your points will help you move up and down in the like positioning or whatever. Do you guys like that? Do you guys like that model, or what are like some of the benefits you kind of see about it?
I don't know. I think in a way the points just kind of make it a bit too complicated in a way. It's a lot of almost unnecessary like trouble to like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be better if maybe they just played a qualifier before every major or for every minor, or I don't know, but the point systems just seems a bit, maybe they could like do it next year. Obviously it's too late now, but they could have pushed it forward a year and just seen how the qualification system worked. But yeah, it's just, especially for like new viewers as well, who because obviously Infinite brought quite a lot of new viewers. Yeah, I think it's kind of just, I've seen a lot of people question how the system actually works. I mean, even we're slightly questioning it, and we've been around for quite a while. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think maybe a qualification system would have worked a bit better, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Gotcha,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I kind of agree. I feel like having a qualifier for before the like major, like, you know, kind of like what they're doing with the you know, obviously I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like, you know, the teams that place well at Raleigh do kind of like, you know, they went in, they practice well, whatever, and you know they place well, so they should be rewarded as well. But at the same time, I feel like to kind of keep it fair, because you know teams are going to get better over the time. Like have an online qualifier for seeding, like, and it's nothing else but seeding, like, you know, and whichever place they come in the tournament is their seeding going into, like, you know, for instance, you know, Anaheim. You know, I feel like that would be, I think that would kind of keep it fair, because kind of like you said, Dos, like to do with the points, like, you know, and especially with these series that they're going on, if they're getting points from that, like if Cloud9 just keeps dominating, like they're just going to keep racking up the points to a point to where they can miss 2 or 3 weeks and still won't get touched in points because, you know, they've won every event.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like some clarification on you know, in the past it's been, you know, those points are split into 4, so if one person leaves, they take up 1/4 of the points with them, and then you kind of carry your own points. And I'm assuming that's the way it is, but I don't know, you know, if 2 people leave that team, do they take those points with them? You know,
Yeah,
yeah. Is
that
that
was
how it works?
yeah. So essentially,
Okay.
like, so if they leave, like their points carry over. Like for instance, like you know, when these teams split up, like they like overall, like they lose the points that their team like they had together, and then if they bring in somebody else that has less points to them, like they still get to accumulate those points, but it's not as if they have less points than the rest of the team does, then their
Yeah.
points get dropped, and so which in sense their seeding gets fluctuates a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I thought. But again, I hadn't seen. I mean, maybe it isn't. I read the rule book like preseason, and maybe it is in there, but I don't really I didn't really remember. Okay, moving on. I think we covered that pretty well. I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit on format too at the end, but let's go to week 2 of the NA Open and Pro Series. Do you want to go over the top 8, Ed?
Yeah, I can go over it.
Yeah, if you have that pulled up.
Yeah, so first and second was obviously Cloud9 and Optic. Then it was FaZe third, except fourth. Fifth/sixth was BBG and United, and then seventh, eighth was KCP and Space Station. Just based off of that, were there any surprises for you, Dos, based off that top 8?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I think the one that stands out obviously is that Exet top 4 finish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that pickup, I think it's suppressed, right? Is that the pickup from Exet? I
Yeah.
could be wrong on that, but I think that was a great pickup by them, and they obviously look like they're firing on all cylinders right now. Obviously, it's one online event, one result. But I'd say overall, like it at the very least, it looks like an improvement for their team. But yeah, that was the main thing that stuck out to me for that finals or whatever that pro series. What about you, Relent?
Yeah, same. I mean, I think they've gradually have gotten better since Raleigh, and I think they keep improving. Like they're putting their heads down, they're putting into practice. I think they're getting better. I think the BBG was kind of surprising. I think they're on a rise, and I think they're potentially could have a huge upset today. In my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think those 2 teams kind of are the ones that kind of stood out to me. Um, and yeah, like you said, that with the addition to was suppressed to that exit team, like I feel like they, um, it's really been beneficial to them more than anything. So
Yeah, another
Yeah, I
thing.
agree. I think
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say I believe Suspect had the best KD out of anyone during that whole pro series. I think he had a 1.42 if I'm remembering
Yeah.
that correctly. But
No, yeah.
obviously that's only one player on a team, but it
Mhm.
contributes a lot. So
Yeah, no, it looks like he's like I mean, I thought he played really good at Rally too, and it kind of looks like I've seen kind of some of the same sentiment, around the scene, like saying like, oh, he's definitely like playing very like he's taken to Halo Infinite very well. I think another thing that I thought was gonna go different was, man, it looked like Fnatic came out. So Business obviously got signed, or they changed their name from Business. They were Team War.
yeah, it was War. Yeah,
Yeah. Then they came into this turn. We knew that they were like leaving. It was hinted at Fnatic. They left their team, then officially got signed by Fnatic before this tournament. But they came out firing on all cylinders. I can't pull up like who they beat, but they took like a big name down, and I'm like, oh, they were like heading to top 8. I thought, but they kind of seemed like a bit of a wall after that.
yeah. I mean, they've been together a while, so it's not like they've just been thrown together. There's not like a complete new roster. So I think it was good that they were they finished quite high, but I think did they end up losing into Space Station? I think, and then
are
they
we,
got knocked down to
are we talking about this past week?
No, we're talking about week 2.
yeah,
Week 2.
week 2.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it right here. Who they ended up losing to.
I was gonna say I don't fully
So
remember that. To be
yeah,
honest.
so they lost to FaZe initially in the winners bracket, and then they went and fell. Actually, they lost to Built by Gamers 2-0. And I think if they won that, if they had won that one, they would have placed top 8. Maybe I could be wrong on how I'm reading this, but it looks like they were like one win away from top 8, you know. And I don't know off the top of my head how close those games were with BBG. I thought BBG went on to beat Pioneers, which is like I don't think people looking at that matchup would assume that they were going to beat Pioneers. So I mean, that's still like a big great performance by Fnatic, and like way to show off, you know, when you get picked up by a team or an
Yeah,
organization.
definitely. I think it was good to see Optic kind of making a comeback because obviously they didn't have the greatest week before this. They made a comeback. Obviously they got second, which is pretty much, in my opinion, where they should be. I think they've got the talent to be a top 3 team, but just in that whole that Cloud9 series, I thought Ella was kind of just on another level. I feel like not enough people give him that much credit because obviously there's a lot of bigger names, big slayers on that team. Obviously Renegade on that team, but yeah, Stella. I think he might have got he might have had a top 3 KD. I think he might have been third or something like that. But yeah, he was definitely doing a lot of damage, which was surprising to me because I feel like he's kind of been more of the underdog of that team, in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one thing that really makes Cloud9 kind of stand out is I feel like all of them like honestly all of them had the ability to kind of stand out as an individually slayer. Obviously Renegade is just like on a whole nother level, but I feel like if he has a bad series against a team or something, like I feel like Penguin or Stellar or Echo can all kind of step up and fill that slay role if need be. And like, I mean, so yeah, I think I'm kind of right there with you, Ed, on everything. Like, I think Optic is definitely a clear number 2 for the time being. I think we talked about this the last podcast that we did. And I think potentially they could potentially make a team change, and I think that could, put them, equal to Cloud9. But I feel like right now, I think they're right where they need to be or where they should be.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think if anyone's gonna take down Cloud, it's gonna be Optic.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to see another matchup. And I mean, I think the 3-way, like, well, I don't know, it's almost like we almost got 4 teams right now that, you know, are like kind of neck and neck in my eyes. We have FaZe, Cloud9, Sentinels, and Optic. And it'll be interesting going into this one because we'll have going into Anaheim rather, because we'll have not formal. We'll have Royal 2 back with Sentinels, but that's also been interesting because I think as far as I know, he's still playing, you know, on from Canada with not the best connection, but they haven't looked incredible in scrims, the ones that I've been following. But at the same time, you know, how much can you you know, some teams play different in scrims, right? They're working on certain things. Time will only tell how that pans out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of and this is just some talk that I've heard from around like some like being in my brother's Discord and like random people joining, and I think a lot of them are like it seems like 50-50 in the league is like, especially on the higher end of like top AM, pro teams, like they don't feel like scrimming in this game it's very vital. So and those, like, speaking on your Sentinels thing, like I feel like they could be looking at it like, they're doing it to get practice somewhat, but they're also not, they don't take it that serious. So
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about as far as the NA side goes for week 2?
no, I think I'm good.
All
Yeah, I
right.
think that's gonna be good.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go to week 2 of EU. Ed, I think you're the most versed in this scene. And I know you
yeah.
got the pick, dude, last week. So
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I just I had kind of a gut feeling, to be honest. I mean, the lads have been looking pretty good in scrims. Yeah, I just for some reason I felt like I don't know. Navi are just it's just unfortunate. They're kind of missing out on top two almost
yeah,
every time. I mean, they did this week. Um, but yeah, it was more of the same really. Ascend doing what they do. I guess they've gone clear right now. I don't really see anyone challenging them too much. I still don't think they've lost. I don't think they've lost a series since
yeah. I haven't seen one.
Pro Series or anything like that. I don't think they've actually lost a series. But yeah, the lads actually got knocked down to losers bracket round one, and then they made a run and they beat a lot of like quite big name teams. They beat HMCA, who were top two yesterday. Yeah, and they also beat Mockit and Navi. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Navi. I feel like they've got a good team. Like they've got their roster's good. They've got a high performing roster, but they just can't get things to click right now. I'm not really sure what they're thinking. Maybe a roster change coming up, maybe not. Um, but yeah, Mockit they did pretty well. They didn't do too well this week. I think they might have got like top 8, I think. Um, yeah, it was unfortunate, and Quadrant missing out again. It was unfortunate because in rally Quadrant were looking like top 3, top 2 EU team in my opinion. But recently online they just haven't been able to make it click. So that's pretty much it for the EU side. There wasn't a lot. It was kind of similar storylines from last week. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It was
Ascender just I
yeah,
don't even know how to describe it.
yeah. They ended it 3-1 against the lads. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were the only one besides the lads that predicted, them in the grand finals, man. When I first saw that
Yeah, I
prediction,
think
I was like, I it was tough because I saw, Septic obviously was playing with was it like the boys or something like that? So
yeah,
he
they
came
were the
over.
lads, and then
Yeah.
the lads, yeah, and then yeah. I mean, their team is actually pretty good. I think they just need to get picked up by an org now. To be honest,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially after these results. I know they didn't do as well in this most recent tournament,
mhm,
but yeah, they're definitely like easy top 4 team in EU right now.
yeah, for sure. But that's pretty much it for the EU. It's kind of similar stuff. I don't know how much you two watched the MX or the ANZ. Um, but once again, it was pretty much similar stuff, especially in MX. Um, Pittsburgh just kind of carried on doing what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and Timber Esports finished second again. So
Yeah.
I think those two are definitely top two, pretty clear.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, other than that, there really wasn't that many more storylines coming from that. Cruelty, which is the team with Danny Knight, dropped from third to fifth/sixth, which was unfortunate to see. I can't really remember what happened this week with them, but yeah, just PK are obviously just the best in that region, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, in that region, and those, I mean, ANZ and MX were definitely living in like Groundhog Day every week. Same teams, same results. I
Yeah,
think with ANZ, I mean, look, Divine Mind was able to take a map off of Chiefs, but I think Chiefs is like undoubtedly like on a different level, than any other organization down there. I think the only at least there's some talking points out of ANZ because it looks like Ogre One has dusted off the controller and stepped up, and he's playing for Immunity now, which is cool. So hopefully, I hope at the very least this brings some more eyeballs to like the ANZ scene, because I know I saw people tweeting about it, how they were like interested in watching now, and I actually went back through the broadcast and like just tried to watch a game, and I was like, oh my, like who would have thought?
Yeah.
yeah, it's just full of nostalgia, really. I think they
Hmm.
placed third last week. Yeah, just Chiefs were just a better team. They remained a better team. They were just leading everything like slays. Obviously, Barcode is kind of the standout slayer on that team. Um, yeah, another second from Divine Minds is still pretty impressive in my opinion. And yeah, I think there's a lot of roster changes going on in ANZ at the moment, especially with like the weaker amateur side.
Hmm.
and I think that, I don't know if there were roster changes within immunity or not. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I don't really know how long Ogre One's actually going to play for. I'd like to see him play for the whole year. It would be nice, but it all depends on, obviously, got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it was interesting because I know he obviously stepped away from the game at like pretty much, you could say his peak. I know that they didn't. I think it was coming off the back of like some not so great results, but I think all the players that were on the final boss team at that time ended up like having good careers in like Halo 3. So I think he still could have went on for a couple of years. So it's interesting that this is the time that he chooses to come back. But I mean, based on his performance, I would say like if he isn't on that team, he'll I can't imagine a world where he's not, if he wants to play, he's not on like a top 8 team down there.
For sure, just based off track record, I think you've kind of got to put him in a team. I'd probably end up
Yeah.
for him, to be honest.
Just off of
Um,
pure knowledge of Halo, like you would
Mhm.
be crazy
Mhm.
not to have him as at least a coach or something.
Yeah, I know. Or just the fanfare, man. Like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like anybody's rooting for that team that has Ogre One on it.
yeah.
Um,
You
so we got a couple other miscellaneous topics to go over, and then we'll touch on the result or our predictions for the tournament, that the NA Pro Series Week 3 that'll be going on. Actually, it'll be starting in about an hour, I think. So, okay, so a
it's
couple. Sorry, go
actually
ahead.
starting in like 2 minutes.
Oh,
But
is it?
yeah,
Oh, shoot. Okay.
yeah.
So that'll be fun because I'm hoping that we get this episode out. I mean, I'd like to get it out early, but I think I'll probably put it out tonight. So it'll be interesting to see like how wrong we were with our predictions right away.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
okay, so these are like quick topics, and we don't have to go too much into them, but I thought they were interesting. So there is a lot of complaints about the best of threes being played up until, I think it's all the way through even the finals, up until the finals. So it's like the last 4 teams are playing best of threes. What do you guys think? Is that a problem? We can start with you, Ed. Is that a problem or not?
I mean, I just want to see more Halo, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I'd rather than be best of fives. I think best of threes are quite harsh, especially considering what they're playing for.
Mhm.
Obviously for the points, but yeah, I know Spartan's been quite vocal on it. I think he put out a tweet that was saying like, can't wait to wake up tomorrow and play like best of threes and stuff like that, which is, it's interesting, but it's good seeing that they're being vocal about it. I don't think they're afraid to speak their mind.
Yeah.
But I think best of threes just kind of limit them, especially considering that with the whole when they cut the teams in half and stuff like that. They said it was like an oversight or something.
Mhm.
I think they've kind of overlooked this as well. I mean, best of fives are just, in my opinion, the better option. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. What about you, Relent?
yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I, I think like the loser, like the best of threes go to both winners round 4 and losers round 4, and then after that it's all best of 5. Um, I think they do it in a sense to kind of speed things up, but at the same time, I feel like it just leaves like it literally leaves no room for error from any team. Like, and that's where you can see a lot of upsets. Like, if a pro team comes in and underestimates some of these top AM teams coming into these pro series, like if they go down 1-0, and 9 times out of 10, well, I think every game 1 is going to be an objective game. So if a pro team loses an objective game, you know, then the next game mode is a Slayer mode, off rip. And I think Slayer in this game is like a 50-50 toss up between anybody, once you get to these top 16 teams, because I mean, as far as slaying goes, like it's all, I think everybody outside of Renegade is kind of even when it comes to slaying power in this game. And with this few exception, few exceptions. So I feel like the best of 3 is convenient to speed up the tournament, but I also feel like it's not beneficial to the players at all, and leaves them no room to kind of bounce back from anything if they have one miss up.
Yeah. So I feel like, so for me, from a casual spectator, I like it. I prefer it because I'm like, man, it's already enough for me to try to get these Halo games in, to watch all these games, So for me, it's like easier. I think it creates, honestly, better theater, which is definitely at the expense of like the competition, right? Like, but I think you're more likely to get an upset, which kind of creates like some more drama. So that's the completely like casual side that I see it as. I also agree. I actually do understand it from like, you know, HCS's perspective, like especially with how the state of the game right now, like the crashes that they're experiencing, all this stuff. It's like, I mean, probably in their minds, they're like, there's no way we can even do this right now. Like how late would a tournament run if they were doing best of fives right now? You know, they'd probably have to start these finals on like in the morning or something like that. I mean, if everything was like running smooth, they could probably do it. But I do understand the players' complaints. Like, best of five is probably like the sweet spot, and I totally understand like wanting to have, you know, more games than just, you know, you have two bad games and you're done. Like it's unfortunate, but I mean, at least there is, you know, if it was a best of three and single elim, I'd really be feeling for him. But I'm like, okay, guys, at least it's like double elimination, you know, like everybody has to deal with this best of three situation. Like you're always gonna have to make some sacrifices. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from, especially like with the casual side of it. Like, if they were best of fives, like off rip, I think it'd be difficult for people in other time zones like me, because obviously it starts at like it's gonna be starting. Well, it's 8 o'clock where I am now.
Yeah.
So like they tend to go on until possibly like maybe 2 in the morning ish for my time zone anyway. I think that is definitely a problem, but yeah, I mean, best of fives, especially from our player side, are just the best way to go forward. Because say you get into a game like the very first game of the tournament and you're not warmed up properly, I think you're already down one, and then it only takes one more map for you to lose, and you're down to losers bracket already. I think it can be quite cruel to the players, but definitely from an observer perspective, it's probably better for.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like we should touch on it real quick because it obviously is it's a huge issue right now, and I think this is the last issue we'll touch on, and then we'll go into the predictions for this tournament, and we'll call it a. But we have obviously we brought it up last episode. We had some allegations and, you know, some. I feel weird just calling it just evidence, but we had some video clips come out as that were, you know, supposed to be supporting evidence of the player minds of Built by Gamers cheating in a tournament that was run by another organization. So basically, at this point, nothing's come of it. We haven't had nothing's come of it from the HCS side. We haven't had honestly, any comment whether there's an investigation or not. We haven't heard anything about I think they have mentioned like an anti-cheat, and they're trying to work on that kind of stuff more of like in game. But where do you think that HCS should go from here, specifically with these allegations, being as they are like, you know, as serious as they are?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he streamed the last series. Like I think the last time, I think it was a Pro Series last week. He streamed that, which, you know, obviously that's not 100% proof. I did hear that the tournament that they won, they took the first place winnings away from them. They didn't give it. They took it away.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know why. I didn't hear that part or didn't read up on it yet.
They did come out with a statement, and they basically said, I don't know if I didn't see that part about the tournament winnings, but the statement basically said that due to the allegations, like Mines wasn't going to be allowed to compete in any of their tournaments in the future, and that I think they were kind of waiting on, like, this is what it sounded like they wanted HCS to come out and like absolve him or find him guilty. Basically, like they wanted the results of an investigation to happen before they were gonna like allow him to compete in their tournaments again.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think HCS have kind of done it the right way. I think, especially considering he's playing in the Pro Series today, maybe they should have just come out and tried to get like a review done as soon as possible. 'Cause now people are starting to question like competitive integrity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whether maybe he is found, maybe he does actually cheat, and if he cheats in this, then obviously it's unfair on his teammates, unfair on everyone else. But
Yeah.
I think maybe the HCS just need to swoop in and kind of just get it done, because I think being silent on something like this is quite a big issue, especially when they've got already quite a big problem on their hands with no anti-cheat stuff. I
Yeah.
I
feel
think
like this is just adding. Go ahead.
I'd say, like, I feel like this kind of ties into like what we were talking about earlier too. Like, it's just like they just need to do something, like say something, do something, anything. And at this point, just to let us, to communicate with us, like what's going on. Like we were talking about with the points. Like nobody really knows. Like you have pro players that probably have the most intel on all of it, and they're kind of coming out seeming like they're in the dark. So it's like, at this point, like I think they need to, you know, and I guess and the way I'm looking at it is like, all right, you had your break from Christmas, like you released a game, then you guys like completely shut down the whole thing. Like, all right, now it's first of the year, like everybody's had their vacation. Like, let's kind of put it into high gear and kind of just address the issue in some way or form. Like if it's saying, hey, we're going to go into investigations, or hey, we didn't see nothing, like, and this is where we stand with it. Just anything to let somebody know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think at the very least, I mean, I think what they should have done is come out with a statement, be like, because we take these allegations very serious. And I think honestly that would have like protected minds too, because I mean, sketchy clips are one thing, but that's not enough evidence. I think we're on agreement, like that's not enough evidence to be like, let's take this guy's career away from him. But this situation has already cost him, his cut of whatever that tournament winnings was. So, and future tournaments in that with that organization. And that's not even including all of the, I'm sure like mental stress and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all saying that he's not cheating. I'm just saying like before we have to have like unfortunately like that's not enough evidence is like where we're at. And HCS just coming out and being like, hey, we've seen these clips, we're like reviewing them, even if like the investigation comes out to like, hey, I mean, we can't do anything, these clips are bad, but what are we gonna do? Like that's better than obviously dress that up, but that's better than just nothing. And it's only damaging like people's confidence in HCS and like in then competitive integrity with Halo. So I think that's like all we can say on that for now. Let's go into the the tournament for this week. I think it'll just be the last one, so it'll just be the NA side. Let's go into the NA series and basically give our predictions, any storylines that we're looking out for. Ed, can you go ahead and read us, if you wouldn't mind? Do you want to do all the teams that are in it, or
yeah, I mean,
you
I
could just
can
do the top 8, I guess, if you want. I might be able to find the tournament bracket.
I have the bracket pulled up.
Gotcha. Do you want to go ahead and read it?
Yeah. So, like, are you on? Like, you just want the teams that are in it?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I don't even think you need. If you want to say the matchups, you can. But I think I say just go ahead and go over the teams that are like in it. Some of them are like kind of. I think this is the first time they've been together under that name and stuff. Anyways,
so we got Cloud9, Space Station, Exit, E United, Optic Gaming, ACP, Pioneers, FaZe, and BBG. And then you got Oxygen Esports, Complexity, G2, a team going by the name of Angry Birds, Solars, Team Solars, Unsung Talent, Sentinels, and another team going by 4 ATA, 4 at a time.
okay.
Is their name, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How do we want to go about this? Do we want to do like almost ones to watch or like predictions?
Yeah, I guess just I think whatever you're looking for in this tournament, some of the storylines that you think are playing out, and then you can kind of give, if you want to do a couple like the predictions, you can kind of keep it loose.
I'll start off with, I think definitely Exit, considering what happened last week with their top four. I think Exeter definitely wants to watch. I think complexity as well, especially towards the end of their Open Series run. They looked like they were firing on all cylinders. I know they've taken a while for them to get like fully there, but yeah, I think those two definitely. And unsigned talent again. I feel like they obviously don't have an org, but that team's pretty good as well. At least in my opinion. But in terms of predictions, I kind of want to say that Cloud9 might not win this one. I know it's pretty bold, but I got a feeling that there are a lot of strong teams, and I feel like it's what, a couple of months into the release of multiplayer now. A lot of teams have had their practice. If it's going to be anyone, I think it probably will be Optic or maybe FaZe to dethrone them. But I don't think they'll get the three-peat this week anyway. That's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, definitely complexity. They definitely showed up, and I mean that those last 3 series that they pulled out to get to the Pro Series today was phenomenal. I mean, they 3-0 Fnatic, and
Yeah,
or 2-0 Fnatic.
can we stop right there for a second? I think Rob the Turtle, did he drop 40 in
He
flag
dropped
game?
30. Well, here's a crazy stat on that. In those 3 series, he went 140 and 70 was his KD.
I don't know. Yeah. I
So,
watched that and I thought the exact same thing that you mentioned, that those last 3 series, that was a different team. I was like I was like way more than just impressed. That was an incredible run by them.
But me personally, I'm kind of with Ed on this one. Like, I think, I don't know, like looking at the bracket layout now, like I think, and just talking like just in general for this tournament, like this exit is playing unsigned talent first round in winners. I think that's going to be a really good like series to watch, pay attention to. But yeah, definitely, uh, yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like the top three, top four teams are getting closer and closer and closing that skill gap. And this could be the tournament that E United or FaZe or somebody in that situation kind of dethrones Cloud9 for a week. And
Yeah.
I think personally, I think that could be beneficial to Cloud9 in a sense of knocking them off their high horse and like kind of making them reset and kind of refocus up on what's going on.
Yeah, speaking on that, I think even Renegade was in an interview, and I think he even said that teams are like catching up to them, but they're just trying to constantly like evolve. But I think one of the things that like you can see in like multiple sports is the fact that it's like actually harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top, you know? Like that can be sometimes the hardest thing. So yeah, them falling in this, it would not surprise me. I don't honestly, I'm trying to think. I think they'll probably pull it out. But I would not that. So if it's a team of FaZe, I don't, Sentinels are playing in this.
Yeah,
I think they're one team I don't really. I don't see them in like the grand finals in this. You know, they took like last week off, or I guess they played through the open bracket, right?
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if if I see them really. You know, they're probably in like a weird position right now because they're in the last. I'm not even sure. I don't remember off the top of my head when Royal 2's like suspension wears off, but it's got to be coming up.
28th of January.
Okay, so this is Formal's like essentially one of his last tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so there'll probably be a second to last. So I don't see really them. I'm not expecting too much for them. What I really want to see is I want to see unsigned talent perform well. And then I want to see I want to see that same complexity that we saw in those last few series of their run, because I think that team against that team that was playing against some of these like bigger names, like that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think if they play like how they did towards the end of the Open Series, I think they could probably make like maybe a top 6 run,
Yeah.
top 8 run, probably. I think that team is just really, really nice. But I think it's unfortunate that we're not really talking about G2 or Space Station. I feel like
Yeah.
they might have another mid finish.
So I have
Like,
I have a theory on. So first I'll say that on Space Station, I want to make like a couple bold predictions. I think Space Station finishes outside the top 8 in this tournament. And then G2, I have a. So at the beginning, I thought it seemed like right after Rally, they were running with two stand-ins, right? And I don't know if that might have just been Sabinator playing on an alternate account.
He was, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. What my theory was is I kind of thought that maybe they wanted to make that change, but couldn't because of the points, because they knew that they would qualify for Anaheim. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, for my understanding, the outside, I think it was outside of the team, like decided to drop Arctic. I think it was what it was.
Oh, okay.
Because of some of his personal things that he did in his life. For instance,
So
yeah. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like my brother's really good friends with one of the players on there, Gilkey, and they told basically Gilkey told my brother was like, he didn't even know he was getting dropped. Like he wasn't a part of that conversation at all.
Oh, okay. So it was less about performance and more about, maybe some of the stuff out of the game, or maybe I guess how that stuff was impacting the team.
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha. Well, honestly, I'll be honest, that gives me more worry that they came out of that tournament. I mean, not that Arctic particularly performed bad, but the fact that they came out of that tournament and they didn't think that they needed to make like a team change kind of worries me. I mean, I know it's like super early in the game, but it's just like that team does, especially for playing under that banner, like that team, I think I don't know. I think they need a big change.
Yeah, my fault. Go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say, you reckon you could see maybe formal move into one of those teams, like a G2 or maybe even back to Space Station? I don't know if I'd have him back, but
Yeah.
feel like after after his time's up on Sentinels, I can see him carrying on playing, or unless he wants to just sit as that optic sub.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a key player in one of their futures.
Yeah, for me, like I kind of with you, like on the G2 thing. Like I feel like after they dropped him, like they've just, I don't know, like I haven't been like overwhelmed by their performance. Like I feel like they've been struggling a lot. Um, yeah, I just as far as the formal thing goes, like I don't know. Like he's been playing with Gilkey in some of the like some of these Pro 8s that they've been playing in. So I mean that could be a possibility. But yeah, I think time will tell. And he'll actually have to play formal. I have to play if they make it to the Pro Series next week. He'll have to play that one because the Pro Series falls on the 27th. So a day before Royal 2's thing comes up.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Do you guys? So I'm calling. I don't know. I feel like a lot of it plays down to how the bracket looks. So I haven't like looked at the bracket, but
Neither.
I'm gonna just say Cloud9 E United finals. I think Space Station will be outside the top 8. I think unfortunately, as much as I want to see it, I think Oxygen's going to be outside the top 8 again. And I think Xset will stay in the top 8. Those are my like couple of my little predictions.
So just to touch base on that, just so you have an idea, Cloud9's playing four at a time. Space Station is playing Sentinels. X is playing Unsigned Talent. E United versus Solars. Optic Gaming is going against a team Angry Birds, and then it's KCP against G2. FaZe. Yeah, that's going to be going. FaZe is against Complexity, and BBG is against Oxygen. First round.
Those are gonna be some fun matchups.
Yeah. I kind of want to say a Cloud9 FaZe final.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Cloud9 FaZe. All right. Well, we'll definitely know pretty soon. We'll know by tonight. All right. Thanks, guys. That concludes like episode 3. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.